There we go. There's a few people who are waiting for this recording. Okay, amazing. We are recording. Thank you again for joining me for this webinar. It is all about how intuition is your birthright, and I'm very passionate about this subject, and I'll tell you all about that as we get into it. I'm hoping that this will take hopefully 30 minutes, and then you can have any Q&As if you've got any questions as well about it after. You can jump in and ask me too. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be presenting this to you. But I'm going to talk to you and let you know a little bit about me first. So my name is Brooke, for anyone who doesn't know me. I live in the southwest of WA as well. So I am in Dalyella, for anyone who is local. This is my area. I've lived here for many years now. 2005, I think we settled back here after being in England for a few years, where I met my husband. He's English. So I have 3 beautiful children and a dog called Spike, who you could possibly hear barking at some stage if anyone walks too close to the front gate. So hopefully he'll be a good boy though and keep nice and quiet. I absolutely adore the beach. When I lived in England for 4 years, I craved the beach. And we obviously didn't live near the beach in England. And when we did go to the beach, they were not the beaches like we have the privilege of having in the southwest. They yeah, that was something that I definitely craved and missed when I lived away from Australia. So I feel very privileged that I have the beach so close to me now. I am also a tree hugger. I walk through the forest, I can't help myself but hug trees. My kids have got a bit more used to me doing that now, give trees a hug too. But yeah, I find that energy in the ocean and in nature just so compelling, and I just have to get in there as well with it. A bit more about me is I love to travel. I love seeing the world and getting to experience everything else and all the different cultures that are out there. I hope to do a lot more traveling before my time is out. I have also been a bookkeeper for over 14 years. I fell into bookkeeping when I returned back from England. My dad needed a bookkeeper because his bookkeeper was leaving. I was good with numbers, so I sort of just fell into that profession. I then created a bookkeeping business. I was a BAS agent with the ATO. I had a very mundane job. It was great because I could work around the kids, but yes, it wasn't something I enjoyed. It wasn't a love of mine at all. It was just something I sort of fell into. And it was a part of my life where I would have to say, hands down, I was not intuitive. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I was intuitive, the answer would be a very big no. I didn't believe I was intuitive. I didn't think it was something that I could learn or something that I could access. But I also had a very deep yearning inside for something more. I wasn't satisfied with my life. And it was when I turned about 35, so about 5 years ago, I remember just waking up and thinking, okay, so I'm 35. If I'm going to live till 70, I'm possibly halfway through my life. And I was not happy where I was. I thought about spending another 35 years in the life that I was doing, feeling the way that I felt, just having day by day and living day by day and having the life that I had. And yes, there was just this yearning for something more. I needed something more. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew that life as I had it at the moment was not how I wanted it. And I just needed to discover something. Didn't know what that something was. So I was very grateful and also quite surprised when the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence came across my path. This was something that I got a full body yes to doing. If you don't know about the Institute, they are an Australian institute where they teach the intuitive sciences and all about, how to be intuitive and to be an intuitive guide. And I began the year-long journey as an intuitive guide with the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, not actually even knowing what I had signed up for, what I was training for. When people asked me what I was doing this course for, I couldn't actually give them the answer. I didn't have a clue what it was. But this course that I started in July last year, so I'm nearly 18 months. I graduated 4 months ago. But the journey that I went on in this year absolutely changed my life and changed everything. That yearning that I had inside it had an outlet. So I'm now a qualified intuitive guide. I have I actually combine that with my financial background as a financial intuitive guide. So what I do now is I help women release the fears, the underlying fears from their subconscious, to be able to embrace that abundance in their life. So another word for me is a fear huntress. And that's what I do. I go down and hunt out the fears and subconscious to be able to clear them. One of the really exciting developments with the Institute of Intuitive Intelligence is that whoever had graduated from the 3rd level, which is what I graduated for in July, we were offered to be able to be certified trainer in one of their programs, which is the initiate program. What the initiate program is teaching people how to become intuitive. That's where I started with my intuitive journey. And I'm now a certified trainer of the initiate program, and only one of 16 in the world who has the privilege of being able to train women in this program. And I'm very passionate about it because this is the program that changed my life. This is the program where I went from not believing I was intuitive or had any skill or that it couldn't actually be taught to now living that life, living in my intuitive intelligence. And yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about sharing with other women as well, and being able to show them how to live in their intuitive intelligence. So this webinar is all about intuition. It's how intuition is your birthright and how we can turn our innate intuition into your superpower. As I said, this is what I have done, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. I remember being told when I first signed up for the training and everything that I've done by someone very close to me. They said, well, what are you expecting to get from this anyway? And I'm like, well, I want to be intuitive. I want to have intuition. And I was told blatantly, hands down, intuition is not something you can be taught. You are either born intuitive or you're not. It is not something you can be taught. I don't know why you're wasting your money trying to learn. And thankfully, I didn't listen. I put my stubborn foot down and didn't listen and continued on my journey. And now know that that is not the case. Intuition is our birthright. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone has the right to that part of themselves, that innate part of themselves. And it's turning that intuition into your superpower. And I love to teach women how to do this. I think it's so important. So I'd love you to have a think about what is intuition. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on what you think intuition is, because as I say, there's so many, I guess, beliefs and stories, very much like I shared, about how intuition isn't something that you can learn. That's very much what my thought was about intuition, was it that it wasn't something that you can access. It was for the special few, for the gifted. It definitely wasn't something that we talked about around our dinner table. I'm not sure about you. But yes, it was something that was sort of like a mystical thing in my life. What I've come to realize is that we've been having the wrong conversation about intuition. The conversation has been all wrong, and it has been for a very, very long time. And it's time that conversation about intuition begins to change, because we don't actually need to chase down our intuition. We don't need to go looking for our intuition as such. What we actually need to do to become intuitive, to have our intuition, is to go on a spiritual adventure to actually understand what intuition is and how the universe works, and the universe is configured, and discover that we are already in possession of all that we need to live a life of unlimited consciousness. We already have everything we need, yeah? We just need to go on that spiritual adventure to discover it. So you can think of intuition as the language of the infinite. And like any language, if you're wanting to go and learn French, you need to use that muscle. You need to go and speak French. You need to study it. You need to learn all about it. And you need to be able to keep using that muscle over and over and over so you are fluent in French. And intuition is very much the same. Intuition is the language of the infinite. And it is a muscle that we need to continue to work to grow, so we can use it and hear it, or know, feel it, however you receive your intuition, because we are all intuitive. That's one of the big misdemeanors I want to to get rid of there is that we are all intuitive. It's not for the special few. It's not for the gifted. It's not just for those few people that who say they're intuitive. We are actually all intuitive. We are all intuitive, and that's pretty exciting, I think. Intuition is our sixth sense. But the thing with intuition, as a collective, we don't get taught to rely on that sixth sense like we are with our other five dominant senses. Yeah, it's harder with our intuition because with our sight and our smell and our touch, you know, we can physically see those things. We can physically touch them. Our intuition, our sixth sense, is not something we're taught to rely on because we can't see it with those other five senses. So it's something we're just not taught about. To say it wasn't something I was ever taught about or discussed. So what we need to do is ask ourselves, what is it that's going to make this innate intuition that I said we've all got this intuition? What's it going to take to have that into a living, breathing system to inhabit in every moment of our life? How are we going to do that? Yeah, what's it going to take to be able to move that innate intuition that we all have into that breathing, living system that we can inhabit every moment of our life? Because that's how we should be living intuition. It shouldn't be something that we get a hit every now and then. It should be a state that we live in constantly. We should constantly be in that state of intuition, and every now and then drop back out and go, oh, hang on, and recorrect. It shouldn't be the other way around. But how do we do that? Really, what I'm asking is, what would it take for you to know that you are the guru, that you actually have all the answers within? You don't need the tarot cards. You don't need the pendulums. You don't need the psychics to tell you what you should do in your life. You don't need those people. You actually have everything inside you. Yeah. So what would it take to turn that innate intuition and turn it into intuitive intelligence? Because that's what we're talking about, moving that innate intuition into intuitive intelligence, which then asks the question of what is intuitive intelligence? And that is, as I've just spoken about, turning that innate sixth sense into a turned on aspect of our life, of living it constantly, it just being part of our life, not being an extra special part. So intuitive intelligence is learning how to receive our intuition and then trusting ourselves and the infinite enough to act on it, even if we don't understand why, especially if we don't understand why. And that takes quite a lot to be able to actually receive our intuition and then trust it. It's the trusting part, which is such a hard thing for us because we have so much fear there sitting there telling us that we shouldn't do that. We have our ego that has constantly been running the show. And as soon as our intuition comes in, or we even hear a slight part of our intuition, we go, oh, hang on a second, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if that's right. My brain's telling me something else. My ego's telling me something else. So I just think I'll just pretend I didn't hear. Pretend I didn't hear what was going on, or feel what was going on, or know what was going on. It's that trust, trusting ourselves, trusting the infinite to act on our intuition. That's what intuitive intelligence is all about. It is trusting and acting and living. So intuitive intelligence is an intelligence based on the inherent interconnectedness of all consciousness and our capacity to attune to that unified, non-local and a causal consciousness with focused intention and attention. Now that's a lot of words. That's a rather large sentence there. So I'm going to break that down slightly for you. So what intuitive intelligence is, it is talking about how we can have that connection to all the consciousness. If we have a think about consciousness as being everything external as part of us still, and having that connection to everything we need, all the answers are out there, and we can attune into that field and be able to get the answers that we need and trust them and rely on them whenever we are in need for them. And it's getting that attention for it. So the formula for intuitive intelligence is really quite simple. The formula is innate intuition, which I just told us all. We all have it. We all are intuitively, all have that innate intuition within us. It's adding spiritual fierceness to the mix to give us intuitive intelligence. Quite a simple formula there. innate intuition, which we all have, plus spiritual fierceness, which is what you've got to bring to the table to equal intuitive intelligence. So what is spiritual fierceness? It is that devotion. It is that practice. It is that tapas, that spiritual tapas, that burning inside. It is practicing and practicing and practicing. It is showing up every day for your, there we go, practice, practice, practice. It's showing up every day for your devotions without fail, on the good days and the bad days. As I say to my clients, it's much easier to turn up on the bad days. It's pretty hard to turn up on the good days, which is quite surprising. But on the bad days, you're wanting something. You're wanting help. You're wanting someone to give you advice, to help you. So you're quite happy to turn up for your devotions when things are going shit. But when things are going good, that's when it's harder. Because everything's all right now. I don't need to show up to my devotions. Everything's good. I don't need to practice anymore. I'm cool. I'm good. And then guess what happens then? Straight back down again. But spiritual fierceness is something that is not just for today or for the next week or for the next month. Spiritual fierceness is something you have to bring to the table and bring into your life every single day for the rest of your life. Yeah. It's not something that you can just do for a day. It's like that French again. You can't go to one French lesson and expect to learn French and be fluent for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen. The same is with intuitive intelligence. If you want your intuition to be something that you live in and something that you have access to constantly, you have to bring that spiritual fierceness. You have to bring that practice into it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's impossible to surrender to your old subconscious fear patterns that control us without deep devotion and consistent practice. Again, that's what I was talking about, that practice. Because there's a thing that when I talk here about that old subconscious fear patterns, that's actually what's standing between you and your intuition. You think I need to tell you how to be intuitive. You think that you can just get a pill or someone can give you the recipe for intuition, because that's what I thought. I've got to be honest. I asked lots of people what the formula was, if they could give me that secret pill, if they could tell me how to be intuitive, because then, you know, everything's good. But the thing is, what you need to remember, what you actually need to know is you have everything you need already. You have everything you need. You are highly intuitive. The problem is you've just forgotten. The problem is fear has separated you and made you feel that you are separate from that connection. It is only fear, that subconscious fear patterning, that is standing between you and your intuition and your connection to the consciousness. And what you need to do is come back to your practices, come back to your spiritual fierceness, come back to removing those subconscious fear patterns that are stopping you and are making you believe that you are separate, because you're not. You have everything you need. Everything you need within you. You always have. You've just forgotten, and the practices bring you back to that truth. So let's do a practice. If you are all able to, obviously if you can't, you can just continue on listening. But what I would love to do is take you through a light expansion meditation. And what this light expansion meditation is showing us that connection to all consciousness there. So if you are able to, I'll just invite you now just to make sure you're nice and comfy in your chair, and just to close down your eyes where you are. Closing down your eyes and taking a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your belly as much as possible. Releasing with an audible sigh, letting it all out. Releasing all that's brought you here today, letting it all go. And another deep breath in through your nose, filling up your belly as much as possible. And out through your mouth again with that audible sigh. Just taking a moment just to scan through your physical body to see if anything needs releasing, whether you're holding your jaw tight or your shoulders need to be dropped. Make sure your feet are planted on the ground. Make sure your physical body is comfortable, because we're going to go within now. So I want you to take your attention down to your heart space now, to your heart center. In this heart space, I want you to see, feel, sense, or imagine a spark of light at the center of your chest. And every breath in and out, that light begins to expand out through every cell, out across your chest, up to your shoulders. The light continues down your arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, every finger and thumb. The light continues up through your neck, over your chin, your nose, your eyes, your ears, down every strand of hair, filling up every cell like wildfire. The light continues down your neck, down your back, swirling around your torso. The light continues with ease and grace down over your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your shins, your feet. Until in the next breath, your entire physical body is filled with this light, your light, from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. And still this light begins to expand so effortlessly out through your energy body, through all the layers of your subtle anatomy. And further still, the light expands, filling up the whole room now that you sit in. The whole room and everything in it covered in your light, your consciousness. And still the light continues to expand with such ease, such grace, filling up the whole building and out across the neighborhood, the suburb, the region that you live, further and further still. It fills up the whole state in which you reside. Your light, your consciousness filling up the entire state. Still the light continues out across the country, filling up the entire country now, easily, gracefully. The light of your consciousness continues to expand out across oceans and continents, such ease, until it fills up the entire world. Your light covering the entire planet. Breathe deeply into the consciousness. See yourself sitting on top of the world, covered in your light. The inherent interconnectedness of all things, connected with your light. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your belly, and hold. Release through your mouth with an audible sigh. And once more, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your belly, and hold. Release through your mouth with an audible sigh. Beautiful. Let your breathing return to its own natural rhythm. Bring some gentle movement into your hands and your feet. When you're ready, only when you're ready, open up your eyes. That light expansion meditation, I just love, well, I love all the practices. But that one is a beautiful practice to just connect into all things and to remind ourselves of that interconnectedness we have with our energy and with our subtle anatomies, and we can expand our energy body to cover the whole world. Beautiful practice. So there's quite a few different types, well, not quite a few different types, there's a couple of different types of intuition, and I want to talk to you about the intuition that I teach. I'm not going to go into the subtypes of intuition. I'm going to show you the bare top of the different types of intuition that we have. Obviously, I go into further detail in the program, which I'll talk to you about a bit later, but the different types of intuition I want to talk to you about briefly today are sort of the main sets, which is local intuition and non-local intuition. Under this, we've got some subsets, but as I say, I'm not going to get into that on just today, but I just wanted to touch briefly on these types of intuition so you know a bit more about the intuition. So we have local and non-local, and local intuition is that intuition which is that innate intuition, that primary biological. It's that intuition, that life protects life intuition. I'm sure you've all had that at some stage, especially if you have children, that something's wrong, you get that intuitive hit. It's built in everyone, and this intuition is informed by our electrical magnetic composition. We are all electrical magnetic beings. We have a cluster of 40,000 neurons in our heart, which is like a second heart, really. Our heart is precognitive. That 40,000 neurons makes the biggest electromagnetic field in all of our body. It's 500 times greater than our brain. It is that heart center where that electrical magnetic composition really comes from, and that signal comes from. And that local intuition is how we become sensitive to one another's energy and the energy around us. You'll hear empaths, or people call themselves empathic or highly sensitive. In all honesty, we are all of that. We are all that. We all have this electromagnetic field. It comes in contact with other people or other places. We all pick up that electromagnetic feelings and that sensitivity. There's nothing special about that electromagnetic sensitivity. We all have it. So even, as it says on there, from the level of the subatomic particle all the way up to the entire universe, we are fields within fields. Those electromagnetic fields start at that smallest particle all the way up. And it's just that local, not special, sensitive, biological, primary intuition. We all have it. It's something we all have. Non-local intuition is the intuition that I teach. And non-local, I want to explain to you how quantum physics explains it, because that helps really to understand it on an intuition when we bring it back to intuition. So quantum physics, at the level of the particle, there can be communication between the particle without them being in the same time, space, location. So that's and when you talk about non-local and quantum physics level, and that's exactly the same with non-local intuition. You're able to receive information without being in the same time, space, location as that information that you're receiving. And again, this intuition we all have access to, but very rarely do we open ourselves to it. And that's what I teach women to do. I teach them how to be open and to receive their non-local intuition. As I say, the local intuition we all have is that electromagnetic sensitivity. That non-local intuition is something that is on another level of learning and being open of how to access that. And it is all that non-local, about being able to access that information outside of time and space, and being able to receive information outside of time and space, which I won't get into it at the moment, but there's this whole science behind it. There's a whole science behind non-local intuition and how we actually do receive that non-local intuition. It's really exciting, and I love talking about the science of intuition, because there is so much, especially in quantum physics, behind how it works, how we actually are able to receive our intuition, because we know we do, but it's amazing to have that science behind it as well. So I talked briefly about how the heart is the largest electromagnetic center or being of our body. And one of the amazing practices we can do is heart congruence. I'm just going to quickly check the time. Yep, okay, I've got 5 minutes. I want to just quickly run through this other practice, heart congruence. This is one of the practices, if anyone comes to me and says, what's the one thing you recommend I do to become intuitive? It would be heart congruence every day of the week. I would tell them heart congruence. This is a 3-minute practice. This 3-minute practice raises your vibration for 6 hours for the rest of your day. So this practice changes your life. This practice changed my life. I know it has changed many, many lives in just 3 minutes. It is the most powerful practice you can do. And it is so simple. It is so simple and it is life-changing. And I want to run you all through it because, as I say, it is amazing. So heart congruence is based on a practice called heart coherence, which was created by the Heart Math Institute. Heart Math Institute is a not-for-profit organisation who do a lot of research into intuition and into the heart, and quite scientific. So heart coherence is quite a scientific practice. What they do with their practice is they have their eyes open. It's a practice which you can take into business meetings and into those sort of environments. Heart congruence brings a spiritual touch to the heart coherent practice. So this definitely brings it to another level and brings in the spiritual side as well. So as I say, it's only a 3-minute practice. So again, I would love it if you are able to join me in this practice. I will just invite you again just to close down your eyes and I'll just talk you through it. So it only takes a few minutes, but it is, yes, the most powerful, amazing practice to have in your repertoire of tools. So with your eyes closed, I just want you to begin lengthening your breath. So perhaps you breathing in for 4 and out for 6. Just really slowing down the breath. Bringing awareness to that breath. What we're doing with our eyes closed and our breath lengthened is we're signaling to our physical body that we are safe to be here. We are safe to be in this time and space. And we're safe to go within. Now I want you to take either 2 fingers of the palm of your hand and just place them at the center of your chest, that heart space area. And again, this is just another signal that it's this area that we wish to spend these next few moments in. With your breathing, just perhaps bring your awareness down into your heart space now. This is where we're going to spend 3 minutes. In this moment in time now, I want you just to bring to mind something that's occurred even within the last 24 hours that you are really grateful for or thankful for. And it can be anything. Do not judge what comes up. If your favorite cup of coffee sets your heart on fire, let it be that. That cup of tea in the morning or that chocolate muffin. Walking out with the sun on your face, and your feet in the grass. Just let whatever brings you joy, freedom, contentment, just rise up. Bring them to mind. And you want to let this feeling of gratitude, thankfulness, take over your whole being. Evoke these feelings strongly, bringing to mind those images or events, memories, help evoke these feelings. If your mind wanders, just bring it back. Bring it back to those memories and events that bring you joy, gratitude, contentment, freedom, thankfulness. Let it begin in your heart and let that feeling just spread within. Just going to go into silence for 30 seconds and let you just keep evoking those feelings strongly, those memories strongly. So if your mind wanders, just bring it back. Because this practice is not a meditation. It's a practice. It's not a relaxation either. Something you have to practice. Evoke those feelings. Really focus on them. Feelings spread and just grow with intensity. Take a deep breath in through your nose, letting it go out through your mouth with an audible sigh. And lay your hand in your lap, and when you're ready, open up your eyes. So heart congruence is a practice, and it's called a practice for a reason, because it is something you must practice. When I first began heart coherence, I found it quite difficult to evoke those feelings so strongly. So I set my alarm 3 times a day. My alarm would go off to remind me to do this 3-minute practice. I now just literally put my hand on my heart and I am flooded with those feelings of that gratitude. My vibration is lifted exponentially, and it is the most powerful tool and practice in such a short time. I encourage you to continue to do that practice. I've actually got a YouTube version of that, which I'll put in the email, so you've got access to that too as well. But yes, heart congruence is the one thing, if you ask me what you should do, heart congruence. So that really, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how to activate your intuition, but I just wanted to let you know that turning your innate intuition into your superpower is done through practices. It's done through spiritual fierceness. It's done through devotion and that spiritual tapas, that fire within to turn up every day and to do practices like heart congruence, like the light expansion meditation. It is showing up and being open to the infinite and saying, yes, I am ready. I'm ready to meet my fears and hunt down the fears that are standing between me and my intuition, because as I said before, that's the only thing that is stopping you from being intuitive, is your fears. And what you need to do is go and meet them. You need the tools to meet them. You need to know how to be able to do that. And this program, which I'm going to talk to you about now, expands and extends everything I've talked about and shows you how to do that. So as I talked to at the beginning when I was talking to you about who I am, I mentioned that I have become a certified trainer in the Initiate program, which is a program created by Dr. Ricky Jane Adams at the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence. The Initiate Activate Your Intuition program, as I am calling it, is now something that I am privileged to teach other women. And I do that in a couple of different formats. I teach that either in a 2-day workshop, and I also teach that in a 21-day online program. But what essentially is the program all about is these are the lessons we go through. So we go through what the formula for intuitive intelligence is. We have a look at the kinds of intuition that there are. As I said, we looked at local and non-local, and there's subsets underneath that as well. So we go into detail of what the different kinds of intuition are. Then there is the science of non-local intuition, which is such an exciting subject. We go into all of the science behind it. Well, as much of the science as I can in this session, because there is so much science which is just so exciting. There is so much science behind this, how we access and can access our non-local intuition. The program is actually designed around 3 hermetic immutable laws, and those laws are the law of mentalism, the law of correspondence, and the law of vibration. These 3 laws, if you live within these laws, you have access to your intuition constantly. These laws, you live within these, the universe just works so much better. They're amazing 3 laws, which we again go into greater detail in the program. We then have a look at energetic protection, how we can energetically protect ourselves. And then also we look at spiritual sight and how you can move from the 3D paradigm to the 5D paradigm, how you can interpret what you are receiving through your intuition, through your spiritual sight. And as I said, so they're really all of the information there. And this is presented either, as I say, 2 different ways, either 2 full-day workshops, 9 until 5. They are chocker with information over the 2 days. I also do a 21-day online program, which I've just finished running a few weeks ago. And that 21-day online program is Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 3 weeks as well. But again, the same content is presented both in the workshops and in the online program. Just the delivery is different. But I'm really excited because I do have the Activate Your Intuition workshop booked in for Bunbury. It's actually just outside Bunbury on the way to Boynup. And it's booked in for the 23rd and 24th of November. And I am really excited to be presenting it. It's the first time I've presented the workshop. As I say, I've done the online versions. But this is the first time I'm bringing it to where I live, which is really exciting for me. I can't wait to get these women in the room and to be able to show everyone what is possible with your intuition. As I said, I ran the 21-day workshop just recently and finished it. I just wanted to share with you a couple of the things the women said, because I really was quite so grateful for their words. I was not expecting, so I was very, very grateful for these words that they gave me, and I just wanted to share them with you. This one was from Sandy. Wow. If you only do 1 program this year, do yourself a favour and sign on to this one. I loved everything about this program. Brooke takes you through all the material in a generous and exciting way. You'll get so many practices to use each and every day that will make you feel alive and inspired. My energy levels have increased and I feel minimum stress. I'm so glad to have done this program and plan to keep doing all the practices each day so I continue to feel amazing. There, as Sandy says, there are so many practices that we do in this program. It's not just all theory. There is many, many practices as well that we go through. And they are practices that you can then, as Sandy's saying, take into your life and continue on as well. This, where are we going? Next one, I think, is from you, Denise. Denise is actually on the call with me. Denise did the 21-day program, and I'm very thankful to see you here today, Denise. Denise has given me 2 beautiful reviews. This is one of them. This program will change your life without you even realizing it. It's that powerful. When you start trusting your heart and live in love instead of fear, everything changes for the better. If you're looking to change your life, then I strongly recommend you do this program. Yeah, thank you, Denise, and thank you again also for being here. These words these women have written, I'm only going to share one more with you. Really, I was so thankful for them, because as I say, this program just excites me. I just get so, it's a program that changed my life. So when I see the difference it's made in other women's lives in such a short amount of time, it lights me up. This one was from Gorgeous Tegan. She was so blessed to have been part of this program. You created such an incredible online space full of information that flowed beautifully and was easy to understand. So they're just a couple of the reviews that came through after doing the online program. As I said, there are some bonuses if you're going to be joining us in the Intuition 2-day workshop. The workshop is actually, it's actually based on this book. This is Dr. Ricky Jane Adams, who is the founder of the Institute of Intuitive Intelligence. The book Spiritually Fierce began as her workbook when she began doing this program, and then turned into obviously a published book. This is her second edition. Everyone who comes to the workshop gets one of these as well. And I've just turned up as well, Denise, so yours will be coming to you very shortly too. So yes, everyone gets a copy of the Spiritually Fierce book, which is like the manual really, the workshop manual. And also Dr. Ricky Jane Adams as well, with one of the other glorious women who have done the third level, Christy Jamison, have created these deck of cards called the Sacred 13, which when I work with clients, I commune messages from the Sacred 13, from the 13 feminine archetypes. And these cards have only just been released, I think last week they were released. So it's very exciting to be able to gift those as well to everyone who comes to the workshop. I think there's another photo actually of them. Yeah, so there we are, all the different archetypes that I work with. They are gorgeous cards. So there is also an early bird at the moment. If you book by the 31st of October for the workshop, you do receive a 75-minute session with me, which is the method session and my intuitive guide session, which isn't going to mean much, if I'm honest to you. If I say it's going to be an intuitive guide method session, the method session is something you can't actually really explain to you, experience it. But what I guess I could say is what it is we go on a journey to uncover what your dominant negative self-belief is that's sitting in your subtle anatomy. So that fear huntress again, we go hunting for that fear that's sitting in your subtle anatomy, which most of the time you're not even aware of, and we clear it. Go through the chakras, through your Akashic records, through past lives, and we clear that out. So that's the bonus if you book by the 31st of October to be at the 2-day workshop. And then, oh, this is where I need to try and pause the recording. Hold on a second. How do I do that? Pause recording. Okay, back on recording. Okay, so yeah, so the people who are watching the recording won't get that bonus that I've just shared there. So the sorry, excuse me, the Activate Your Intuition, the 21-day online program, I am running again. I've just finished running it, so I'm possibly not going to be running it again till next year, but you can send expressions of interest to me again at that email address, and I'll let you know as soon as it is running. April, I believe, is going to be the next time that I run it. So but send me an email and you'll be the first to know for that one. And also, as a thank you to everyone who came here, I also wanted just to offer you a discount code if you were wanting to come and experience what a method session is like. As I say, it's a very hard thing to explain, but I know they've changed my life. These method sessions, someone said recently, it's like you're looking into my soul, and they are all intuitively led. I step aside and I am just the conduit for the infinite to talk through me and to be able to clear whatever fear that you are needing to be cleared at this time. So again, it will be in the email, but you can also find it on my Facebook page. If you just, when going to book, use the code webinar, that will give you a 20% discount on the intuitive guide method sessions. Or if you're going to be coming to the workshop, it'll give you a follow-up session instead, because obviously you'll get the intuitive guide method session for free in the early bird. So you'll get 20% off any follow-ups that you book there too. I think that is the end of my presentation. It is. Has anyone got any questions or anything they wanted to ask me about that? I'm going to just stop the sharing. Actually, I might just go back. If anyone has any questions at all, just check the chat box. No. So yes, as I was saying, intuition, that's the one thing I want you to walk away from here knowing that intuition is your birthright. You are all intuitive. You all have access to your intuition. As I said, even 2 years ago, did not think I was intuitive at all. Like, it was just something I thought was a pipe dream. And now I live in my intuition. I work in my job, my profession now is an intuitive guide. That's what I do. And I am very blessed to do that, and it was only the knowledge that I received in the initiate program that sent me on this journey, that opened my intuition and changed my life, which is why when I was offered to become a teacher of it, I had to say yes, because it changed my life, and I know it changes people's lives. So I'm so excited to be teaching and bringing it to Bunbury. So if anyone has any questions, you can drop it in the chat box. Otherwise, you can also email me or PM me at Facebook, on Facebook as well. But otherwise, I'd love to thank you all for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you all and being here. And if you do come to the workshop, you have the gorgeous Lizanne as well, who is on the call. She's going to be my support person. She will be there as well, supporting me. So yes, and I can't wait. Wonderful. Lovely, Shari. Thank you for joining us. I shall, any questions, message me, get in contact. Otherwise, I will see you all soon. I'm going to stop the sharing now and if I can get out of here, okay. Stop the recording. Start with? Yes, stop the recording. Thanks, Denise.